The growing development of technology continues to shock the world, and its abilities seem endless day by day.
Yeah, they do. And technology now, it plays a significant role when disaster strikes. And to explain more, we're joined by our good friend Stan Prager from GoGeeks.
The man
in
who
East Long
knows.
Meadow. The man who knows all, of course. So let's talk about some of the things that technology can do when disasters hit, be it natural or otherwise.
And unfortunately, we've had several recently.
Well, that's right.
Earthquake.
We had the earthquake in Italy is what's in the news right now.
Right.
That really stands right out. And of course, on a more minor level, we had the tornado last week in Concord. You know, that was nowhere near as devastating, of course, as as what went on in Italy. But essentially, there's a number of different devices and technology available today that really can save lives, that are really incredible, that we didn't have just a few years ago. So one of the things are apps that you can put on your phone that can warn you of impending disaster and tell you where to go afterwards. I did a story last week with Sina on this, with the new tornado app, but that same app is also going to work in other disasters. Like maybe it can't warn you that there's an earthquake, but then after the earthquake occurs, the Red Cross app will show you where the nearest shelters are and will give you the latest updates on status. So if you need to stay in one place, or is the water potable, important things that we don't think about. So that's number one. The second thing is they're using drones to map the area of the disaster, which saves a ton of lives, because they're able to get real-time video and photos, still photos, of what's on the ground, and then they can transmit them to rescuers. So they know, well, this building is in this particular shape, what do they need to get through the rubble safely to get to people? So that's a biggie.
Speaking of getting through the rubble, too, I was going to say, don't they have robots and things now that can kind of crawl into spaces that aren't necessarily safe for humans to go in?
That is a very good point. I'm glad you brought that up, because that's one of the most exciting parts of the technology. Is they have robots all different types of robots, and they can go below ground, they can go in buildings, and they can go underwater. But the latest ones have these sensor cameras on 24 or 25-foot long snake-like apparatuses, which can go ahead and poke down. Like, you can't get down there, there's just a little hole, right?
Sure.
So the snake-like robot arm goes down into the rubble with cameras that looks and, sees where someone might be buried, or, where an obstruction is, so they know what kind of tools to bring to it to get to the people safely.
Talk about life-saving.
Yeah,
that's great.
Exactly.
And then there's what I find even more exciting is NASA has what's called a finder technology that uses a certain type of radar which will detect heartbeats, and it can differentiate between a human and an animal heartbeat. So they know that this building is just a pile of stones, but there's a human heartbeat in there. We know we have to get in there and save somebody. So that's something a few years ago that person probably would have died. So that's remarkable.
It's really something, how research in one field, like space exploration, can be applied to something like, saving a person's life in a pile of rubble.
Absolutely. And the other thing, which is kind of, sounds kind of mundane, we always talk about Wi-Fi. I used to talk about the Wi-Fi blues. We talk about Wi-Fi and how important it is to have an encrypted password so that other people can't get on your network. But immediately after the earthquake in Italy, authorities immediately released information to the people living in the local area, and with a request to please remove your encryption key off of your Wi-Fi so that rescuers can use it. Because isn't that, I mean, you don't think about that kind of thing, right? But if you remove it so it's a public network and anyone can get on it, then rescuers on the ground, they're using these tools in order to transmit these pictures from drones and information from finder radar and from the robots and all this. All this information is transmitted wirelessly, so having the ability to hop on anyone's public network is a huge boon for them.
Absolutely.
So that's something that it really never occurred to me. I always talk about Wi-Fi and how important it is to lock it down. In this case,
until there's an emergency.
Right, you want to unlock it. Exactly.
Well, it just speaks to the community coming together and everyone pitching in, no matter how small or how big, everyone coming together to help save lives.
Exactly. And the number of lives that were saved this time around in Italy, for instance, is substantially greater because of the technology than it would have been just a few years ago.
Hear, hear.
Great. All right.
Let's hope that continues.
Stan Prager.